tones and tonal languages ถ้าเป็นภาษาไทยเขาเรียกว่าวรรณยุกต์如果普通话的话就是声调廣東話係聲調或者音調tiếng Việt ก็走ประมาณสัก東西で And then you have pitch accent languages like Japanese, which have very common characteristics to the Wu languages of China, which include Shanghainese, Huyu. Now, tones are these things that are seemingly shrouded in mystery, not only for the learners of those languages, but even for the native speakers of these languages. I'm sure there are some learners out there of tonal languages who have asked a native speaker before, oh, what's the tone of this word? And the native speaker had to stop and think, and sometimes they're even going back to their school days. If in Thai, they'll be counting on their fingers, trying to remember what their teachers taught them about tones. But this is crazy. Surely they don't do this when they're actually speaking in everyday life, and they don't. Tones are just built into the system. Now, if you have a look at all of the words that are used for tones in those tonal languages, so for example, Thai, Warnayuk literally means color marker or color index. In Chinese, Sheng Diao. Sheng is voice, Diao is like a degree, so voice degrees. Or in Cantonese, you can have Singdio, which is the same word, or Yamdio. So again, Yam is voice or sound degrees. In Vietnamese, Zo, again, is this indicator or a degree. Isn't it strange that the words that are associated with so-called tones in these language actually have nothing to do with pitch? And I'm sure that there are some people out there who are sure that they've got the pitch right after a lot of practice, and then you come out and say something and crickets. People still don't understand what you're saying. Well, actually, there's probably something else coming into play there. And this is why I'm so excited to tell you that I have spent the past couple of months putting together everything that I think that anybody learning any tonal language or any pitch accent language needs to know. And I've structured it in a way that if you go through this hour and 20-minute totally free workshop, you're going to be able to come out and approach any tonal language with confidence and with ease. You're going to learn to use your voice like an instrument, and people are going to be blown away when you actually speak in these languages, whether it's Thai, Lao, any of the Chinese, Sinitic languages, Vietnamese, or even pitch accent languages like Japanese. So I've put it out there for you. If you're really serious about learning one of these languages and you really want to take control of your voice and you really want to start sounding really good in those languages, well, here you go. An hour and 20 minutes is going to be an investment in your time that could save you years of pain. All that I ask in return is that you would share it with people that you think would benefit from it as well. Not just learners of the language, but heck, even native speakers, because they could realize something about their voices that will give them a new lease on new tonal languages as well that they've never thought about. So in this clip here, I'm going to show you some highlights of the webinar. You can click on the link below and go and register and take it. It's totally free. And if it does benefit you, well, click the like, subscribe down below, and share it with as many people as you can.
Sorry to butt in there, Stu, but this is Stuart J. Raj here. And I just wanted to say that I have just watched what you're about to watch, and oh my God, if only I had have had this at the beginning of my language learning journey, especially learning languages like Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, Lao, these tonal languages, and even Japanese. I really believe that what you're about to watch here is probably going to be the standard for anybody who is going in to learn any of these languages from across Asia, or even for anybody who's learning a language where that language's sound system is significantly different from the sound system of your mother tongue. So make sure you watch this to the very end, because by the time you get to the end of this, there are going to be transformations happening both physiologically and mentally that's going to make you a new person when it comes to language learning. Well, I want you to think of today as your initial step on what's going to be a lifetime journey, but it's going to be a lifetime journey that is life-changing, and you're going to be buzzed. So you might be able to relate to this. Sometimes you might know cerebrally, you might know in your head how a certain sound is supposed to sound, but when you actually say it in full flow of speech, you just know that you said it wrong.
And Stuart has taught me how to think of my vocal apparatus as a musical instrument.
In the end, it comes down to you. And what you've done through the journey of this clip, you're able to now understand your voice. Now you're probably going to be realizing, oh, well, maybe it makes sense why they couldn't understand why I was saying this. I thought that these vowels were interchangeable, but they actually weren't. We've heard in some languages, like Vietnamese, Thai, Chinese, actually all tonal languages, never get this popping at the end. So I said the child took it, dek ao pai, but I puff that air over, dek kao pai. Because my throat's not doing it, now the Thai is tuning into this kao pai, because you'll only ever hear that at the beginning of a syllable. And so now they're trying to figure out kao. What are they talking about? Rice kao? Or are they talking about entering kao? Now there's one thing that can confuse native speakers of Chinese, Thai, Vietnamese, Burmese more when foreign speakers speak their language than tones. That is vowels. This is the bottom of the mouth, and then you've got this back of it. All right, so this here is basically a graphed representation of the mouth. So supposing the tongue's raised to there, that would be the equivalent of having the tongue raised all the way back there. Now it looks a bit silly like that, but this is an exaggeration of what you see in there. But that's okay, because when learning a language, exaggeration is great. It helps it stick in our memories. Or going on, and I want you to picture this big light flashing on it. There's a reason for that. Or you should see the same red light flashing internally in your mind, and you can feel it flashing in your mouth. From now on, every time that you hear somebody pronounce a consonant or a vowel, or you're pronouncing it yourself, I want you to start to become super aware of where it's being produced from in the mouth. I hope that after going through all of this, you realize now that tones are much more than pitch. And that word tone is quite misleading in English. It's actually the color of each syllable. And that color of the syllable, whether it's short, it's long, whether it's stopped in the throat, mak, mak versus ma. Your throat's doing different things. That is the tone. Maybe it's better to think of these tones as colors or natures of syllables rather than something that resembles pitch. Picture a line down here, and that's number one. And I'm going to move up to the top of my voice. I'm going to use my finger as a dial. Are you ready? Right? So your voice should be going, What if I did something like this? Jump up. So, This is pretty cool. We can start using our voice almost like a piano. It's almost like a musical instrument. It's almost like yodeling. Yo, and actually, in languages like Vietnamese, if you're speaking the northern dialect from Hanoi, you have what's called the broken tone. 2 to 1, yan. Now that same tone for Mandarin would be what we call the number 2 tone. So the number 2 tone is actually like a 2 to 5, let's say. So that would be like from there to here. So how would you say that? Now it's not yan in Mandarin, it's actually zh, zhen, 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 and it goes way up, zhen. So for example, the word chopsticks versus bridge. I'm going to say chopsticks, then bridge, and see if you can tell the difference. Hashi, hashi, or hashi, or hashi.
I'm Stuart J. Raj, and I'll see you on the other side.